Hi, this is Jay, and today I'm going to speak about self acceptance and the universal problem of self non acceptance and how to basically fix it. So, there are many different ways that we seek to achieve self acceptance in our lives, and I'll just enumerate them broadly. And ultimately, there is one way to achieve complete self acceptance. So, the most common ways that we know of are through friends, through loved ones, through a spouse, through a partner. Most of us have one person whom we can talk to about almost everything or everything, and that's how we get validation and we get a certain amount of self-acceptance. So that's one way. Another way is through talking to seniors. So seniors, in a lot of countries, seniors are seen as wise people because they have more life experience than us, and because they've been through all the things that we're currently going through and haven't yet gone through, and they have a lot to offer in terms of wisdom. So that helps a lot in self acceptance, in the sense that when we talk to seniors, they give us perspective on our lives and what we're going through and what we're feeling and thinking and doing, and that helps us understand ourselves and our particular circumstances in life, and that helps us understand, and by understanding we gain a certain amount of acceptance of our particular circumstances and of ourselves. So seniors are a source of a certain amount of self-acceptance in this manner. Another way is through pets. So a lot of us have pets, dogs, cats, whatever, and that is a beautiful thing, because dogs, cats, whatever, they accept us without any judgment, right? They have complete unconditional love towards us, and that is a beautiful thing, and it's very healing. um, and even the physical aspect of it, the ability to touch an animal, to stroke it, to pet it, to cuddle it, again, is very healing for us. So all these things help us gain a certain amount of self-acceptance. That's why animals are a great source of healing and love, for especially people who live alone. So that's another thing. Of course, parents know this, that when you have a child in the initial years, the child is similar to that pet in the sense that it has unconditional love for you. It sees you as its savior, as its protector, and it loves you no matter what. And so in the initial years, it's a very beautiful thing because you get a lot of acceptance from your child. um, so that's another thing, but not everybody has children, and even that experience goes away as the child grows and starts to see us as we are, and not as some larger than life gods or goddesses that it considered us when it was completely helpless and needed us for its well-being. That's another one. Then there's prayer. So prayer is not something that requires belief or anything, or faith, like a lot of us think. If you understand prayer, it's nothing but an action, and it follows the laws of action, which is action. Any action produces a result. The laws of the universe are a superset of the laws of motion, Newton's laws of motion, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That is true on that physical plane. But there is a larger superset of that, which includes the laws of the universe. And that includes, or rather, that states that every action has to produce a result. If I clap my hands, it will produce sound, right? Similarly, if I pray, which is basically uttering words, sentences, which are nothing but subtle actions, there has to be a result. And that result is called grace. So prayer does work. Okay, if you understand it, it's just action and result, that's all. And for those of us who don't believe in prayer, you can call it autosuggestion, which is nothing but me putting out affirmations into the universe. And by putting out those affirmations, again, they are actions, and those actions will produce results. So it's another word for prayer, autosuggestion. Okay, so that's another one. So I can use that to work on myself, to accept myself, use prayers, use autosuggestion. Okay, that's another one. Then there is self-help. Okay, so there's all kinds of tools for self-help, whether it's vipassana, breath control exercises, therapy, cognitive therapy, hypnosis. There's a laundry list of tools out there to work on oneself and gain a certain deeper understanding of oneself, and by that self-acceptance. Now, in the beginning I mentioned this thing about some of us or most of us having a friend or a loved one with whom we can share almost everything. Now, here's the key thing. Uh, if we look closely at this thing, at this source of our acceptance, a loved one, a friend, whatever, we'll find that even though we can speak about practically everything to that person, our innermost thoughts and feelings we cannot share. Okay? That's just how it is. And so, even that person who is so close to us and who accepts us as we are, we cannot say everything to that person, because the mind has all kinds of thoughts and feelings at different points in time, some of them crazy. Okay, and that's why it's very important to have one source where I can feel completely free to express myself 100%. And that source is basically, either you can call it God, or if you don't want God, just call it the universe. Okay, or call it a piece of paper. So if you look at it closely, it's a very powerful tool, because I can use that piece of paper to just write out all my feelings and thoughts, everything, just put it down on paper. And that's actually a huge thing. If you think about it, it's even better than a friend or a loved one who listens to us, because even that person has limits about what they can accept. But this piece of paper has no judgment. You can write everything. You can write your deepest, darkest thoughts and feelings, and it's fine. And it's actually a tool in psychology wherein you are encouraged to write out your feelings on paper. Or if you don't like to write, just speak. When you find a quiet place where no one's around, when you're alone, and just talk to the universe, talk to God, call it whatever, just talk. Pour out all your thoughts and feelings. For me, I found that writing is more effective than talking. Sometimes I do use the talking thing too, but the writing thing is also very effective. So that is a huge tool, because if you think about it, that is the only place where you have complete self-acceptance. Complete. There is no judgment, there is nothing there, right? You can write anything and everything. And that's a beautiful thing, and it's a very healing thing. But even that tool is incomplete, because it cannot give you complete self-acceptance. It can help you heal yourself, it can help you get rid of a lot of psychological baggage, but ultimately it cannot give you 100% self-acceptance. The only thing that can give you that is self-knowledge. And why? Because the moment I'm born into this world, as a child, as a little baby, I see everything and everyone around me, and everyone is bigger than me, and the world is vast. And so automatically in the back of my mind, the unconscious mind makes a note of that, and it draws an immediate conclusion that I am too small and therefore helpless, and therefore I need these bigger people around me to protect me and keep me well. Okay, so automatically the self is rejected as small and incomplete and helpless. Now that part goes away when I grow older, because I grow either as big as my parents or bigger, and so I see them as they are, not as some demigods or gods who were protecting me, whom I completely needed when I was a child because I was helpless. So that part goes away. So I see them as they are. But the self rejection, the conclusion that I am incomplete and therefore not okay, cannot be shaken, because every experience I have in the world confirms that. I go out into the world, and what do I see? I see that I am just this one person with this limited body, with a limited intellect, with a limited mind and senses, and there are countless other people and beings out there. I'm just one of them, and there's such a vast universe, and I'm this little dude or girl or man or woman all alone in this vast universe. How can I not reject this physical body, mind, sense, ego complex? I automatically, everyone does it. You just don't know it. or most of us don't know it. So that's the root of self non-acceptance. And the only way to solve that is to see the truth that I am not this much alone, that I am actually infinite consciousness who is in, or which is in the form of this whole universe, which pervades the whole universe and which is infinite, which has no limitations. That's the only way, self-knowledge. Okay? There is no other way to achieve 100% self-acceptance. Every other way that I've spoken about thus far is only partial. It can give me some peace, some relative palliatives or patches or temporary, whatever. It can fix some of my psychological issues or whatever, but it's not complete. It cannot be. The conclusion, the base conclusion that is drawn as soon as I come out into the world, that I am not okay because I am only this much, and therefore this is not enough, and therefore I reject myself as an individual and seek that acceptance in the world outside, will never go away until that self-ignorance is taken away by self-knowledge. And that self-knowledge is that I am not this much, I am everything. And there's a little indication there, a little clue that this is not the limit of me. Why? Because we don't like that. Even though we can't help but judge ourselves and reject ourselves and seek that in the external world through our worldly pursuits, whether we amass wealth or through relationships or through achievements or whatever, in the back of our mind, we cannot accept that we are limited. Nobody likes that. If you ask anybody, do you like the fact that you're a limited person, that you're one person in this vast universe? Anybody will say no. Right? Nobody likes that. And that's because our true nature is limitlessness. That is why we cannot stand limitation. See, if limitation was our nature, A, we would be comfortable with it, and B, it would be natural to us, and C, we would love it. Just like the example of fire and heat, right? Heat is a property, a fundamental nature of fire. So that's why heat is the fire's nature. If that fire could talk and you ask the fire, do you like being hot or do you want to get rid of it? What do you think the fire would say? The fire would say, yes, I love being hot. It's my nature. It's who I am. It's what I am. I don't want to get rid of that. Similarly, anything that is my nature, A, is natural to me, B, I'm comfortable with, and C, I love that. That's what being someone's nature or one's nature means. Therefore, if limitation was my nature, I would be comfortable being limited and I would be happy being limited, but that's not the case. Nobody likes limitation and everybody works to get rid of it. And that's what's the truth of it. And that means that limitlessness is my true nature. That by itself is not enough. You still need self-knowledge, but that's a clue, a hint there. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this talk, and if anybody has any questions, comments, suggestions, whatever, you know where to find me on Facebook. So thank you for listening, and for those, I guess, if there are some new people who watch this, my Facebook page is facebook.com/Nirvana for you too, which is NIRVANA, the number 4, the small letter U, the number 2. Thanks.